Welcome back, everyone, to a new episode of the Boys in Motion podcast. We're your hosts, Andrew, Brian, and Tyler. We're here again to break down tips and strategies you need to excel in endurance sports. Today, episode number 37, and we've got a good one. We're diving into the world of recovery. I know we all need some here and there, specifically massage therapy, physiotherapy, and chiropractic care. If you've ever wondered how these treatments can help you perform and when to use them, this episode's for you. Listen up.
We're pumped for this one because recovery is such a key part of endurance training. Too often, athletes focus on pushing their limits, but neglect the recovery that keeps them performing at their best. Today, we're unpacking how different recovery methods and practitioners can help you stay injury-free and maximize your training.
I can personally vouch for how important proper treatment is. Working with professionals, I call the trifecta, massage, physio, and chiro, has definitely played a massive role in my ability to break 2:45 in the marathon while staying on top of my injuries. The right recovery can keep you running or doing whatever sport you're doing strong, feeling great, and you won't be breaking down after those long training weeks, and just keeps you in that right spot and keeps you moving and grooving.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to dive into this one. But before we do so, let's take a quick pause for the BIM news flash. It's been a few weeks since we did one, so I think it's important we return because we've got some exciting events coming up in 2025. The first, and actually a little bit further out than what Andrew's got in store, is the 2025 BIM Ride. We've had a lot of signups, a lot of interest already. You can check out our website for more information, that boysinmotion.com, and there's the form to sign up. It's going to be an unforgettable 2-day cycling experience. You can do 1 or 2 days. The 2 days will have an overnight in Fort Erie. Very, very nice. It's your chance to push your limits, ride with an amazing crew, and soak in the open road vibes. It's going to be a group ride, not a race. And whether you want to hammer it out in the pain train with Tyler and I, or just enjoy the journey and the chats with the chat pack led by Andrew, this ride is going to be about community, endurance, and good times. So, Tyler, give a little teaser. What's that pain train all about?
Oh, baby, I'm excited for the pain train. It's going to be a fast paced, we'll call it 30 plus kilometer an hour group. We're going around roughly 160 to 180K per day. So it's going to be real nice. It's going to be, longest ride, obviously, of the season, just kicking off the season, but kicking it off in a good way. And it's built for the people who just love to feel that pain and like we talked about last episode, love to feel that lactate buildup. So I'm fired up.
For sure. And the chat pack, Andrew, what do you have in store for the group joining you?
Chat pack's going to be a little bit more relaxed. We're going to enjoy the sights a little bit more and not just focused on that person ahead of you and trying to stick on that wheel. We're going to be enjoying good coffee, good baked goods, good chats. It's just going to be a good time all around while still going the distance. So it'll be a nice ride.
Yeah, and for the chat pack, it's a more relaxed, about 100 kilometers per day on average. The event details, the key things. So start location, the whole event is kind of taking place in the Niagara region, specifically starting day 1, Friday, May 30th in Fonthill. The overnight will be in Fort Erie, and then we will be returning to Fonthill on day 2, that's Saturday, May 31st. So Friday, May 30th to Saturday, May 31st are the days. You can sign up today. The deadline and the last day that you can sign up and get one of the beautiful Team BIM jerseys that we were just designing before recording this is March 31st. So make sure you sign up today. And if you're already signed up, invite a friend.
But that's not all. We have more BIM events, and this one is after the big success of our BIM 5K in the fall. We have another BIM 5K coming at you. It's the BIM Easter 5K. So it's going to be over the Easter long weekend on Saturday, April 19th, again at 9 o'clock in the morning, with a new exciting location in Niagara. We're not going to give it away just yet, but the signups will be happening on this Saturday, March 1st. So do be on the lookout on Instagram and on our website at boysinmotion.com, where you can sign up for the BIM 5K, which again will be that fun, exciting staggered start. So no matter what pace you'll be running at, everyone's going to be sprinting across that line together, and then we'll get some nice coffee afterwards. That might have been a bit of a clue of the location. But yeah, so Brian, I know last year, 2024 fall, you had big goals for this BIM 5K. What do you have any plans for this one?
I'm not sure yet because I'm not on a specific training plan for the 5K. I would love, absolutely love to PR again if the weather's nice and the wind's in the right direction. Going sub 20 again, but maybe, pipping my last time by a few seconds would be an ultimate goal for me. And who knows, Tyler, I put the spotlight on you. It might be a great opportunity to pace Tyler in his endeavor.
We'll see. I think step one is just to stay injury free, and then I won't be the media man this time. Let me just tell you, I will try my best here. And like you said, maybe we could get a little pacer action going, and so I could break that. I could be in the sub 20 club.
Love it. So yeah, whether you are from Niagara and just looking for a nice, fun Saturday 5K, or you're here in Niagara to visit family over the long weekend, we'd love to have you out. It'll be a fun event. Bring your friends, bring your family. Yeah, it'll be a great time all around.
And block off that date in the calendar and take a look at our Instagram. We'll let you know when you can sign up.
All right. So I think now that all of the exciting BIM events are out of the way and everyone's super excited about them, I know I am, I think let's jump in to the meat of the episode, which is exactly when, why you would go for each of these specific types of treatment, whether it's massage therapy, physiotherapy, or chiropractic care. I'll kick it off because this is actually the most recent one that I've done in my training block, and that is massage therapy, which is generally you're going there for some muscle relaxation when those muscles are just a little overworked from all of those grueling workouts, and you just want a little bit of relief, a bit of circulation, kind of just moving the blood through the muscles, and also a great tool to use for post-race recovery.
Yeah, I think the key here, just I want to say that I always mess up, is booking them as far in advance as possible so you could really sort out, like Andrew was saying, pre-race and post-race massage therapy sessions. So I always find myself, oh wait, I want a massage, fully booked until, a month down the road. So just make sure you book those far in advance.
Yeah. And so massage therapy offers a ton of benefits. Certainly, it can help with faster recovery, but also injury prevention. I know if I'm feeling a little bit of muscle stiffness, a massage is often the first and the go-to to kind of release that. So staying on top and having a decent cadence of massage therapy can really keep you loose, have some injury prevention in there, improve blood flow to your muscles like you mentioned, and overall, just a relaxing time. It's something that you can just appreciate as well. Treat it like a spa treatment with that balance of kind of sports massage where it's targeted to the key places you're trying to focus on.
I will say the last time I went for my massage, it was not a relaxing time. So do keep that in mind. Depending what muscles are being worked, if they're extra tight or you've done some weird things to them, sometimes it can get pretty gnarly, I'd say. But afterwards, you get all those benefits, which is wonderful.
For sure. And that's where you talk about like a technique like deep tissue massage, which is very, very targeted at tight muscles and adhesions. And it can really help break up those tight spots and kind of those places that will become injuries if they're not addressed. I also think having a good dialogue with your massage therapist is key to getting the most out of the treatment. So while massage therapy in general can be very beneficial, having a massage therapist that you're speaking to that understands what you're looking for is really key. Because if you just go in and you say, hey, I want a massage, well, they're going to give you kind of a whole body 60-minute massage, which covers everything but targets really nothing. So speaking to them, having a conversation before you get on the table is the key to unlocking the most value out of that.
Very true. I think, you hit the nail on the head there. If you usually go in there beforehand, what are your goals? What do you want done this session? And they kind of isolate those areas and get to those pinch points, or even just loosen you out for the next event. So, and especially telling them what you have coming and showing them what you're working towards is also a good way to showcase what you need to get done.
So moving on to the second category, which is physiotherapy, is, in my opinion, one of the most valuable practitioners that I go to see. My physiotherapist is alongside me in my training and really plays a key role in making sure that I can reach every start line without injury. In addition, it's key for injury rehabilitation. And then the last part, also associated with injury rehabilitation, is movement correction and overall, we can call it work, because a physiotherapist will generally assess your biomechanics at the start, do a full body assessment, see where those weaknesses are, see what's not working in your body, and then kind of get you back to a correct person at the end of the day. So I think physiotherapy has a lot to offer in that respect.
Absolutely. I think if we were doing a blind ranking and we had to pick our ranks, as much as I don't want to go see a physiotherapist because I hope I never get injured, physiotherapy is right there at the top spot for me, because they really are looking at the activities you're doing, seeing weak points and trying to address those and set you off with a plan to help address all of those things so that it's not a continuous thing. You're not just like on this injury hamster wheel where you're doing a few exercises, doing the same things, and then coming right back to them. It's really about strengthening your body for the movement that you are doing so that you can just keep progressing and getting speedier and speedier.
Yeah, it's very true. I guess this comes at a good time because I think I might have to go visit one pretty soon. I'm getting a couple niggles here and there, so I think instead of fighting through maybe an injury, I think it's best just go see a physio, get that prehab in instead of rehab. So I also, most times when I go, it has been after an injury, so I want to prevent that injury this time and go beforehand. And you'll be the physio's best friend if you show up without a serious injury or something that stops you, and you're just there to prevent it at the end of the day. So
For sure. I'm a little bit of a nut. I already have my physio appointments booked from now until September in the calendar, every 2 weeks on just direct. It's something that I think plays a key role. There's a ton of imbalances, a ton of corrections that need to be done, and with the performance that I'm seeking, being on top of that is key. Even if it's a week where I'm not like actually injured or there's nothing going on serious, it's still good to have that check-in with my physiotherapist. Now, often what a physiotherapist will prescribe is not, painkillers or this and that. It's actually a customized exercise program. And that exercise program will include stuff like mobility work, strength training, corrective movements, and then all of that is to address those muscle imbalances we were talking about so that you can prevent future injuries by optimizing your movement mechanics. And part of my work with my physiotherapist is to progressively overload that exercise program so that I'm progressing and getting better over the long run. So it's really like your prescription slip from a physiotherapist is exercise, which I love because that makes it like preventative and you're not leaning on drugs and just re-injuring yourself because you're not managing that properly.
Yeah, that's all great stuff. And another little side benefit for those that do have benefits from work is that physiotherapists, on top of just going for an injury or kind of going to work on those weak points, they also offer different services like in the running realm, things like run coaching, run analysis, and those things will all, because they're performed by a physiotherapist, they'll be covered by your physiotherapist benefits. So it is kind of good to see kind of what different things can be offered and different types of sessions that you can, like Brian does, where you do it on a routine basis. If you just want to go in, do routine mobility and strengthening work, a lot of physiotherapists are like very well suited of doing that, and they offer those services, and they're really looking more for that performance side of things and not just trying to give you some exercise for injuries.
And to add on your point too, I just want to say for those cyclists out there, and TT man, bike fits also fall under physio. For some of them, you got to go to one that with a registered physiotherapist, but that's another option there.
See, this is what I want to find, Ty, is a physio. Even like I love my current physio because it's very focused on I think the main points of making me overall better, but I want to find somebody who can also perform a bike fit under coverage, because bike fits are expensive, and it would be really nice to know I'm well tuned to my bike setup.
I find there's always like it's funny, it's like some underground names that in your city that will do that. They're registered obviously, so you could claim that, but there's only a few and far in between that do it. So
Something to look for. Okay, the last of the three categories here is chiropractic care. So often you hear about chiropractors, it's more related to joint and spinal adjustment. It's something that I've dabbled in the past and did go to one in late 2024 as well. What I really focused on with my chiropractor was actually nerve related issues, because they're working with the skeleton and how all of that is moving. It really helped to reduce some pain along my leg. But chiropractic care is something that I lean upon more so as a rehabilitation when there's a problem that I'm seeing, and sometimes leaning on like my physio or massage therapist to say, oh, maybe you should escalate this to a chiropractor, given the circumstance, whatever it might be.
For me, like Brian does every 2 weeks for his physio, chiropractor is something that I am the most regular about, and I do it on a every 3 to month basis. And a lot of the reason for that is working a desk job and then doing the amount of since I'm doing basically all high impact endurance activity, not balancing it with much else, I get these imbalances and alignment issues occasionally. So the spinal alignment is huge. I often carry a lot of tension in my upper back, so getting that sorted out. But then also with running, my hips, and I have really tight ankles, and getting realignment there has been super helpful. Sometimes I'll go in and my chiropractor will just kind of assess kind of where she thinks my body is at and kind of like where the tension is at. And like I'll go in, we'll have just like done a peak week, and she kind of like can tell because of like where in my body the tension is and like where alignments need to be made. And it's kind of just like a nice, it brings your body back to alignment and just like feeling good. So I actually really like my chiropractor and doing it regularly. I also find that having conversations with them, I get a lot of good mobility work from my chiropractor because she's so in tune with like where my body should be at depending on different phases. So that's a tool that I love using.
Yeah, I'm like Andrew. I would say on a monthly basis, but it's a chiropractor, but we do acupuncture instead. Don't want to dig too much into it, but chiropractors also give out that services. Acupuncture I find is very nice to release those tense spots and get your muscles working correctly again. A little bit, weird, and you got to get used to it at first, but it was very beneficial for me to find those tight spots in the legs and even into the knee. You could really pinpoint some unused potential with acupuncture.
Yeah, that's freaky. It's not something I've ever tried. I've never done acupuncture. Have you, Andrew?
The only time I've done acupuncture was for injuries, like through like acupuncture and then attaching like a TENS machine. That's the only stuff I've done. I've never
That's what
done it
they
where
do
it's
to
like
me.
a full, yeah. So I've done that, and yeah, that's brought some nice relief for injuries.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's that stiffness and especially if it's spine. I know like my chiropractor, it's the same kind of thing, is doing high impact and then sitting at a desk or yeah, working a sedentary job. The balance of those just puts your body out of whack, and chiropractic care really did help with that. Okay, so that kind of covers the three categories and what they are. Now, in terms of when to use each of them, we did touch on it a little bit, but maybe we can go into a little bit more detail about when each of these should be used.
Yeah, let's kick it off with that massage. I think this is something that I personally use just regular maintenance. I kind of have a massage booked once a month. So if you're able to do it at a somewhat regular cadence, it is nice. It helps flush out those muscles from all the work you've been doing. But just a disclaimer, as far as that deep tissue massage, if you're really going to someone that's focused on sports massages, don't book massages right before key sessions. Give yourself a few days buffer, because right after you get that crazy massage, I know the last one on my calves, they were like completely busted up afterwards. So give yourself some time. And on the other side, right after an event, I wouldn't do it right away there either, because your muscles are going to be so sore. So also give yourself maybe a 3 to 4 day buffer on that side as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. For massage, it's nice to have that kind of as often as you can. Of course, like not a daily thing, but massage therapy is good on a regular cadence. But being like planning it around your events and tough workouts is important. I also think it's key to plan ahead. Tyler, you mentioned this, and I think this might be true for all three categories, is book far in advance, because all of these people's calendars, they fill up quick, and it's not often that you can kind of say like, "Oh, I need a massage this week. I'm going to book one." Sometimes it's booked out a month out. And especially around the end of year where everybody's benefits are coming like are churning over to the new calendar year, people are trying to use up their benefit dollars. If you're trying to book a massage in December for December, you're probably out of luck, so plan ahead.
I know we touched on it too previously, but for physiotherapy, I think it's a mixed bag there. We could do a lot prehab physiotherapy, like you're saying, Brian, a regular cadence there, 2 to 3 weeks to prevent and support your body with mobility and keeping away from those injuries. But you could also do the dreaded rehab, which is the when I've been in the past was get a sprained ankle or something wrong with the body, and you go there for relief, and you go even more frequently. Like I was going weekly for the first 4 weeks to try to get that rehab fast forwarded, I guess.
Yeah, and that's true for physiotherapy, especially, is that structured rehab and proper assessment at the start will generally require a longer first appointment and then a few at a faster interval as kind of you get exactly what protocols you should be following. So lingering injuries, for sure, physio. And then, like you guys both said, I think regular maintenance, chiropractic adjustments can really help with posture, mobility, and especially for those who are sitting all day and then training hard. I think it's key for them to have those kind of regular maintenance appointments.
Yeah, this is reminding me I'm about to go on the website here and book myself in for a couple of physios and chiropractors. So I already got my massages booked, but I'll be booking some more here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So some signs you might need treatment: if you have persistent muscle tightness, or you're coming out of an event, a massage can really be your savior there. If you have reoccurring pain or mobility restrictions, physiotherapy is very key for that. And if you have chronic stiffness or nerve related issues, then you should probably consider a chiropractor. Those are kind of the three categories of who I'd go to for what, very generally speaking.
Yeah, and when putting together this triple threat of practitioners as part of your arsenal to kind of tackle your endurance goals, I think trying to find people that are kind of more endurance performance focus is always good. Having someone that, you can have that dialogue with, kind of, these are my goals, this is what I'm trying to achieve, kind of helps them better understand exactly how to treat and kind of give you the most information they can so that you can kind of go home and do your homework. Because unfortunately, when it comes to prehab, going to the practitioner is just one piece of the puzzle. And then once you go home, there will be work to do in some of the cases, especially with the chiropractic and especially physiotherapist. So then we kind of move to the, like, what are we doing at home to recover based on the recommendations of these practitioners? Because there will be some drills and activities you might need to do.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, is what, like, booking the appointment, going to your practitioner is fairly easy. It's what are you doing on the day to day to kind of follow through with, especially like you say, physio, chiro, on using the protocols that they give you to improve your performance. I think that's the key benefit that endurance athletes will see. Mobility improvement, performance enhancement, and the addressing of those overuse injuries that endurance sports can actually provide to your body. Not the best thing, but balancing that with those daily protocols. I think I have a promise this year, for example, of doing 100 rounds of my exercise routine from my physio, and it's tough to stay on top of.
You're on number 5. I've been counting. So you owe us a 6th one, I think.
Oh, I think I finished lucky number 7 actually.
Oh, you did? Oh, I
Yeah,
must have missed a couple.
I saw the quads on that lucky number 7, so I
Oh,
know that's
true.
true.
Oh, true. That was the Valentine's Day exercise
Oh,
routine.
yes, very true. My bad. I can't count, of course. But
But
yes,
it's tough to stay on top of, for
yeah,
sure. I don't know if you guys like find yourself struggling. I find it's easier to hop on the bike or go out for a run sometimes than it is to do a quick 20-minute, 15-minute exercise routine.
it's kind of funny, but yeah, I feel the same way. And I guess another reason for this regular cadence for these types of appointments, I think, is it keeps you accountable to do those sessions within that 30 or 40-minute time slot you booked with your specialist. So I think that just keeps you accountable. Of course, it's obviously better if you keep that recovery up at home and mobility, but you always know that you could count on that session to get that work in.
For sure. And that's why I have the regular cadence with my physio, is it's always around the corner. So if I want to keep progressing, I need to do a few of the rounds of that. Every 2 weeks, I'm back to kind of get interviewed and tested by him.
But always doing the homework. But the nice thing about this homework, unlike some of the sports we're doing, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, biking, the homework requires very little and pretty simple gear. So if you have recently had an injury, working on your mobility, and get this homework from your physio or chiropractor, really you just need some simple things like a yoga mat. You could even use a towel. A good set of resistance bands are often super useful depending on what exercises you're doing. Some sort of foam roller is super helpful for working your muscles, your legs, your back, to do that self massage, even like some sort of lacrosse ball if you want it to be super pinpoint. But it's just a few simple and pretty inexpensive things, because most of these exercises are pretty basic. It's not like the goal is to lift big, heavy weights. It's mostly body weight exercises or with small amounts of resistance.
Yeah, agreed. Of course, you can start to get into some more specialized things. Maybe we can go through like our individual like key things that we have in our home gym, we'll call it. For me, I have two 25-pound weights for some of that resistance work. My physio actually wants me doing more heavy lifting, but I said that's the limit I have at home. I have a nice mirror space, which I really like to be able to see. A lot of my stuff has to do with balance and alignment, so making sure that I can see the feedback visually. Then I have a foam roller. I actually have two. One is a like hard foam roller and one is a softer foam roller. And then I have a balance disc because my ankles have trouble like searching for balance all the time. And then lastly, I have a band for kind of band walks and glute strengthening. So those are kind of the key things that I have. And then I also have a lacrosse ball as well as a massage gun to help me kind of sit on the couch and do a little work there too.
Yeah, I have a lot of the same things. The one thing that I'll add that I really like is I have a massage stick. It's kind of a, maybe 20, 30 centimeters and has spinning beads on it with little nubs that you run along your quads or calves. That's something that I really like post run, post race. It's just kind of like a very easy thing, super portable, also low tech. A massage gun is great, and I also use that. But this is just super easy. You don't need to worry about charging it. So that's a nice tool too.
Frig, I remember that massage stick after day one of the first BIM ride that we did. We were just watching Lance Armstrong documentaries, and I'm just there grinding out the legs. Holy, it's the best pain ever. That's the key with massage stuff. Best pain.
I was gonna say, I haven't taken that massage stick out in a while, and that just reminded me I'm gonna go grab it in the closet after this. It's real nice.
So Ty, was there anything from like Andrew and I's list that you have that we don't have that you would recommend?
Frig, wow, I think you guys went over a lot of items there, and I wish I had half of those things. I just deal with a band. I like the resistance band for a lot of the recovery, mobility, and balance work. It hits everything for me. And also, I guess, the massage gun. I guess, maybe more so, you could say, maybe too lazy to have everything else, but I just kind of stick with those two items, and it gets me through, for the most part, the stuff I have to get done.
For sure. I don't think it's like, yeah, again, simple is better. I've only accumulated these things when I had a serious injury that, I needed these things for, and then it kind of becomes a part of the inventory.
And I think a big thing too is accessibility. I'm a big, I guess, my issue is if I don't see it, I won't use it. So I'm guilty of hiding things in the closet and then not going to them again. But yeah, I think keeping things readily accessible, or it's there, is another easy way to get it done.
Yeah, that's true. It only matters if you do it. So I do want to just touch on one more point, which is finding the right practitioner. You mentioned it briefly through another explanation, Andrew, but I think it is key because we're not, like, endurance athletes need something specific when it comes to finding that team of practitioners to support their performance, because we're not your everyday clientele. There's a few points that I wanted to dig in on, and maybe you guys add some ideas here. Number one is look for practitioners with experience dealing with endurance athletes. So a lot of practitioners, and on these websites, they'll actually have like descriptions of each person. And sometimes reading through those descriptions, they'll have either experience treating endurance athletes, or they may have been an endurance athlete themselves. I think that's a great signal, somebody who will understand your goals and that sort of thing. And then there are some offices and people that actually focus on working with runners, cyclists, triathletes. And that way they will understand the overuse injuries that you're likely to have and understand kind of your drive and what you're trying to do in your sporting life. What are some other tips you might have in suggesting people to find that right practitioner?
Another good one, like you said, look at the descriptions. And I think finding people that maybe are like interested in very similar things, if they're very focused on like running is a broad category. Like there's a lot from sprinter to like ultra endurance. If you can find someone that's like interest is very similarly aligned to yours, they have dealt with the things that you've dealt with because they're potentially training to do similar things. So I think it's easier for them to kind of relate and kind of chat about things that they're themselves going through, but also have done with a lot of their clients. And like you said, the specialty places, if you live in a large city or have access to a wide variety of like physiotherapists, I know I go to all like very running specific places. And it has been a big change because I used to not do that. And I found a very big improvement in the kind of the physiotherapists that I chat with and the feedback I get.
And, it's even as simple as, do you like their vibes? You could get somewhere, they could be on paper, description's perfect, they like running, they like this, they like that. But if you're just not vibing with them, move on to the next person. So I think there's a lot of personal preference there too, and don't be afraid. I think I was at first afraid to move to a next one and to try if one wasn't the right fit. But I think finding the right fit is also very important.
You need to treat it like dating almost. So you need to make sure that match is good. So those first few sessions, you're not committing long term immediately. Like do a few trial sessions, feel them out, assess how you feel, and that was right on point. If they're not meeting your needs, go on to the next. I also think asking people around you for their recommendations is another key thing. I remember chatting with Chris. He was looking for a recommendation. I had heard great things about this specific physiotherapist for precisely what he was dealing with and recommended that person to Chris, and he really enjoyed that first experience with them. If you don't have people in your immediate vicinity, reach out to coaches, trainers online, and read reviews as well, right? Somebody who's rated 3 stars online, not great reputation, there's probably a reason for that as well.
Yeah, the other piece is location and availability. You want to make sure that the place you pick is decently convenient to get to, because if there's that hurdle of it being, a 45-minute drive away or 45-minute commute, you might want to go less often. And also availability. Some people book up super quickly or are only available on certain days. So make sure that whatever practitioner you're picking kind of meets your current schedule. I know for me, my physiotherapist actually is in the old neighborhood I lived in. I still go to them because I like them so much. But luckily it's not that far. But at the beginning, you definitely want to reduce that friction of going.
That is very true. And I think you said a good point there too, is making sure that if you stay with them, like you were saying, if it's in your old neighborhood and you like it, you stick to that person because you're so used to it and you're committed, let's say.
Yeah. And then finally is look for specialization and credentials. There's so much additional training beyond kind of your standard issue chiro, physio, and massage therapy, like RMT certification. There's a ton of specialized credentials that can come along where these people can dive into like deeper into a subfield within each of those domains. So a massage therapist, for example, that has sports massage or deep tissue techniques as a part of their profile is somebody that might be more interesting for an endurance athlete to go to. So I would just make sure that that person's profile and certifications are something that matches the goals in sports that you're going into. Like we talked earlier, a physio that can do a bike fit as well is more valuable to a cyclist than just a general physio.
All right, I think that about wraps it up for the main content of going over. We've shared, what exactly a massage therapist, a physio, and a chiropractor does, and explained just some benefits and how to pick the right one for you to meet your endurance goals and kind of get you in that right spot so you can keep training hard and aren't getting blocked midway because of an injury or just tightness. So I think we are ready for chat time. And I hear one of you might have a hot take.
Well, less of a hot take, more of a question to the two of you. We were talking about our go-tos, and something that came up, I have 2 different foam rollers, and I was wondering if you think foam rolling is essential or overrated. Tyler, I see you unmuted. What's your take here?
I think my answer will be a hot take. I say it's overrated. I don't use foam rollers and I don't like them.
I agree. I think it's overrated as far as I think the foam roller being like the number one essential, I don't think is true for me. I like to use it like when my legs are super sore after an event or a super hard training session, but I don't think it's essential. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm really interested in like the why for Tyler, but I'm sort of in the same boat of like it's a nice tool to have, but there is some benefit I think when you really have something pinpointed that the foam roller can target, especially in the glutes.
Yes, glutes do make sense. I think if you use it in the right way, it could be beneficial, but if you use it in the wrong way, it could actually hurt you as well. I think more so people just say, okay, I'm going to use a foam roller, I'm going to foam roll my whole body. And I actually had a discussion with my physio on this, to roll out a tight upper leg. I don't think foam rolling sometimes is the best option. I like to go towards more of a massage gun. The foam roller could irritate those big muscles and those big ligaments, and sometimes you could get injured.
Yeah, another thing why maybe I think it's a little overrated, I find foam rollers are a little big and bulky, and it's great for at home. If you can just have it in your home workout area to do after a run, a bike session, whatever. But it's not the best for traveling and going different places. If you're going somewhere for the weekend or traveling for a race, I find it's just not necessarily the best option there. So I wouldn't say it's my number one tool. I think that's one of the big reasons.
Yeah, agreed. Not the number one tool. I think we can all say that. But if you've got the space and you've got the will, it is something nice. It kind of substitutes for that more premium massage. In the short term, a foam roller can help find some relief that is akin, but not as good as massage therapy. So, question number 2 for both of you guys is, what is your personal go-to routine? And I'm going to be very specific. You do your long run, you're exhausted. What are the key recovery pieces that you will do?
Yeah, my long run ritual always starts, and I share this in a quick tip, is to keep moving afterwards. Whether that is do the long run, go for a little walk with Gizmo, go do groceries, just do something that keeps me moving for a little bit instead of just collapsing right after. I find that helps me a lot with recovery. But thing number 2 is actually not anything related to exercises, but it's taking an Epsom salt bath. That I find is my biggest hack to just make sure that my legs will feel sorted the next day. And then just maybe some light stretching. That's about it.
That is very true. Epsom salt bath, maybe we could say that is underrated. I really like hitting that bath up. Obviously with the cold weather too, it's nice to get in a nice warm bath with Epsom salts and just relaxing. But I think key there is keeping the legs moving. It's a must, and I think it's pretty easy for dog owners. I just go out and bring the dog for a little rip around the parking lot and bring them back in, so that's easy. And my big thing is as well, I crave it now at the end of long runs. Nice glass of chocolate milk. Just pound back a glass of chocolate milk, get a bit of protein in you, get some sugar that you clearly deserve, and then you move on to, having an actual meal once you're all sorted out. But I think just having either a glass of chocolate milk or some nice chocolate protein hits different.
Yeah, I agree with both of those. I think a little bit of movement for sure. One crackhead thing that I was doing in the marathon training block last year was a cold bath for about 10 minutes after every long run. Holy moly. You know what? It paid dividends. I stayed pretty healthy throughout that. And after the long runs, the cold plunge was numbing to the pain in the legs. So something to explore if you're feeling a little spicy and you need to cool down a bit.
I most certainly will not be adding that to my recovery. I'll tell you that right now. That's illegal.
Yeah, just it was immediate cold bath and then boom, nice hot coffee, the perfect balance of temperature.
But, I think I remember after our morning runs last year, you were doing cold showers right after. I thought you were a madman.
I was. I don't know what was happening to me, but that marathon training block took me by storm. It changed something in me, that's for sure.
That is great. I think that's a great spot to wrap up today's episode. Thanks for joining us for our nice discussion on massage, physio, and chiro for endurance athletes. We hope this episode gave you some insight on how to better take care of your body and optimize that trifecta.
That's perfect. If you found this episode helpful, make sure that you share it with a friend or family member who could benefit from these recovery strategies. Recovery is not just for elite athletes, it's for anyone who wants to stay active and injury-free.
And just a weekly reminder, we are not medical professionals. We're just real good at freaking them out with our weekly mileage. The advice and tips that we shared is based on our experiences and research. But I see you, Tyler. You're ready to freak out your physio. But always consult with that healthcare provider before making any significant changes to your exercise routine.
I just booked a physio appointment. Thanks for that, guys. Keep moving and grooving, and we'll see you next time.